And without further ado, the man, the myth, the Caribbean legend, the one and only Rotary International Director, Jeremy Hurst. Jeremy?
Thanks so much, Andy, I think, and good evening to everyone. Last month, we discussed innovative clubs, one of the easiest ways to grow. We heard 3 success stories about different types of clubs and how they were growing. Well, I can bet you the primary reason those clubs are growing is that they're excelling at member care and member well-being. And that's exactly our topic tonight. Picture this, a bustling marketplace filled with eager customers seeking solutions to their needs. This marketplace represents Rotary, a global community of volunteers dedicated to creating positive, lasting change in their communities and the world. And by the way, importantly, also change within themselves. But in this marketplace, Rotary members are more than just volunteers. They are, in fact, paying customers. They pay by investing their time, their skills, and yes, their resources. And they want and deserve a return on this investment. They have needs and expectations that our Rotary clubs must meet in order for them to feel that they're getting value. They want to feel comfortable in their clubs and know that they're cared for. Taking care of our Rotary members is crucial for the success of our organization, just as taking care of customers is crucial for the success of any business. And our surveys show that the primary reason that our members stay in Rotary is if their club experience is a caring and inclusive one. And conversely, the primary reason they leave is when it's not. And let's be clear, our members tend not to leave Rotary, they leave our clubs. So by creating a club environment that meets their needs, we create sustainable and effective Rotary communities, a place where our members and our clubs can grow and thrive together. So we need to build a relationship of trust and loyalty with our members, just as we do with our customers in business. And just like our customers, Rotary members have choices. They can and will choose to invest their time and resources elsewhere if they don't feel valued and supported within Rotary. First and foremost, taking care of Rotary members is a matter of respect. These individuals have chosen to devote their time and energy to Rotary, and they deserve our gratitude and appreciation. We should make sure they feel valued and supported. However, more than that, we need to make sure their contributions are also recognized and celebrated. Secondly, taking care of Rotary members is essential for their well-being. These individuals are often putting in long hours and working under stressful conditions. It's important that we create a supportive environment where they can thrive, both personally and professionally. This is a major opportunity for us to add value to our members, one that's fully aligned with President-elect Gordon's focus on mental wellness, as well as our vision statement's call to create lasting change, not only across the globe and in our communities, but firstly, as I said, within ourselves. Offering support and resources to help our members balance their Rotary workload and their personal and professional lives acts as a platform also to provide opportunities for personal and professional development too. Thirdly, taking care of Rotary members is crucial for the sustainability of our organization. Without the dedication and hard work of our members, Rotary would not be able to achieve its mission. Therefore, it's important that we invest in our members and create an environment that is conducive to their success. Fourthly, and this makes good business sense too, of course, taking care of Rotary members is a way of ensuring that we attract and retain the best possible talent. When we create an environment that is supportive and empowering, it encourages individuals to stay involved and contribute their skills and expertise year after year. They grow individually within the organization and Rotary grows with them. It's an obvious win-win, and again, this in turn helps us to build a strong and effective Rotary community. And finally, taking care of our Rotary members is a way of living up to our Rotary motto, service above self. If we truly believe in this motto, then we must prioritize the well-being of our members. By doing so, we demonstrate our commitment to the values of Rotary and ensure that we are making a positive impact in our world. Summarizing then, when we prioritize the care and well-being of our Rotary members, we create a community that is not only sustainable, but also more impactful. We attract and retain our best talent, and we demonstrate our commitment to the Rotary values of service above self. So let's view our Rotary members as customers, and let's take care of them just as we would our most valued clients in our professional lives and our extended family in our personal ones. So now let's hear from Rotary International President Jen, as she talks about the importance of the care, comfort, and well-being of our members.
Hello, fellow Rotary leaders. I am so happy to be speaking to you today, and I'm excited to share this leadership journey with all of you. As club and district leaders, you are central to the health of our clubs and our districts. There's so much that each of us can do to help create club experiences that are welcoming, inclusive, and enjoyable for each and every member. And just as importantly, how we're able to extend that same warmth and belonging to every participant who wishes to engage with our clubs. Over and over, our surveys find that the comfort and care of our members is the single greatest driver of member satisfaction, and it's our most powerful tool to keeping our members engaged in our clubs. This comfort and care philosophy begins with listening. We need to understand why our members took the leap and joined us, and we need to know what they expect from us. What do they want out of their Rotary involvement? And how do they aspire to change and influence our communities and our world through their membership? To build stronger clubs, we should aim to understand the needs and expectations of new members right from the start. And we need to keep taking their temperature regularly to see if those expectations are being met or what we can do to help them get more out of their Rotary experience. These touch points will reassure members that they're being heard and that we care about their comfort and satisfaction. We know our members find their way into Rotary through many diverse paths. We also know the outcome if they're not taken care of. They leave Rotary. Traditionally, many clubs conduct exit interviews to see why a member has decided to leave, and this is a valuable tool. That said, if we're only checking in after a member has chosen to leave, we're too late. Let's check in annually with our members by conducting and acting on the results of member satisfaction surveys. And let's incorporate entrance interviews into our process, asking what they want from their membership and then helping them to achieve their dreams. In the coming months, watch for an array of communications that will support you in your leadership role. These valuable resources are designed to help you and your club members to enrich your experience as people of purpose, people of influence, people of action. A big part of that work is honoring Rotary's commitment to diversity. We know that clubs that are thriving have a culture that is inclusive and welcoming. Our Learning Center provides a wealth of tools to help all Rotary members commit to diversity, and we hope you'll share these plans and become champions of this important endeavor. Another tool to support you is our Membership Leads online platform. This is a great tool that helps clubs identify prospective members that might be the right fit for their club. As leaders, this is an amazing opportunity to follow up with tens of thousands of prospective Rotary and Rotaract members each and every year. These are people who want to be part of us. Imagine the impact we could make with new members who offer fresh perspective, expertise, and energy. And there's one more thing that I believe that's so important in providing a comfortable, caring club experience for your members, and that's communication. We'll be helping you and your new members by providing a series of messages directly to new members over the course of their first year of membership. This will help new Rotary members to get to know the full range of opportunities that we offer. So, we have a lot to be excited about and some work ahead of us, but I couldn't ask for a better team of leaders to work with, and thank you for your Rotary service and your leadership. Imagine how we can grow Rotary when we focus on the comfort and care of our Rotary family.
Thank you so much, President Jem, for highlighting the importance of the care and comfort of our members as we strive to create more inclusive and diverse cultures within our clubs. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce our first guest, who's literally walked the talk when it comes to creating a more caring and engaging environment for her club members, and that is President Tracy Hajir of the Rotary Club of Wycomico County, Salisbury, Maryland. Tracy, welcome, and over to you.
Thank you for having me here today to talk about our Rotary story. Like many Rotary clubs across the country, we struggled during COVID with our membership numbers. We worked incredibly hard to gain new members. Some of our strategies we spoke about in a previous webinar, and I'm happy to say that not only did we meet our goal for the year, but we exceeded it by 68%. We have since turned our focus towards retention of members. We needed to find ways to make our members want to come to meetings and entice them to stay. This came to the forefront when I attended my very first new member orientation session as an incoming president. I soon realized that many new members had no idea what Rotary was about. I knew I had to take the time and effort to keep them engaged and informed. My first area of focus was to get them up to speed on club rituals, all the many components of being a Rotarian, and any expectations we had of them. We accomplished this through increased and enhanced communication, specific and intentional engagement. Firstly, we created an email chain that was comprised of new members, their mentors, and board members. This email chain is in addition to the weekly email that is sent to all members about the upcoming meeting. This email chain was basically explanatory. For example, when our next meeting was a club assembly, I sent an email to new members explaining what that was and what we did, and most importantly, what was expected of them. Another effort to engage new members comprised of half-hour social sessions that we scheduled before our regular meetings. Now, these didn't happen each week. They were usually held about once every 2 months, and I usually had a theme. The last session we had concentrated on committees. This gave new members an opportunity to ask questions. Some weren't even aware of what they didn't know to ask. Some of the areas of confusion during this last meeting centered on, did they need to join a committee right away? How many can they join? And most importantly, at what level could they engage? I'll come back to that in another minute or so. But it gave us the opportunity to talk to them about their passions and how we can relate that to the different committees. We encouraged them to be a part of what suited either their personality or skills. I did notice that these half-hour social sessions were always very well attended. My second area of focus was to be involved. I felt it was very important to recognize each new member at our meetings. This could happen in our fellowship time while we were eating lunch or milling around beforehand. I especially encouraged outgoing members to make a concerted effort. It's easy to be a greeter, but it takes more effort to actively engage for a few more minutes. I cannot express how important that is. Eye contact, mentioning of their name, say you're happy to see them, note if they haven't been in a meeting for a few weeks. We need to make them feel welcomed. By engaging in conversation, it was easier for us to understand what they wanted out of Rotary. Were they looking for community service efforts? Were maybe too shy to be in the forefront of any project we had, but they loved being in the background. I also found out that I had to organize the club a little better because we had a few very enthusiastic new members that every committee chair was trying to recruit. I cautioned the committee chairs to work with the club leadership before assigning tasks to new members. It's important not to overwhelm them, but to provide them with support along the way. And engaging them in conversation helps determine if they are overwhelmed. My third effort was to praise and encourage. We jokingly have come up with the informal motto that every Rotarian is paying for the privilege to serve and volunteer. You have to remember, this is a totally all volunteer organization. And if your members don't show up, it will cease to exist. The most important takeaway is that you must avoid criticism. Everyone completes tasks differently and should be appreciated for their efforts. They should be recognized. I make a point in my announcements each week, if appropriate, to recognize a member who went out of their way to do Rotary work. For example, we have a member who's very good with woodwork. And when we created our free little libraries around our town, we noticed that one week, one of them had been vandalized. So he went, picked it up, took it home, repaired it, took it back to the location and put it back into place. And then he sent me a text. So at the next meeting, I made a point of recognizing him and showing him what a true Rotarian does. He got a round of applause, and I'm sure he appreciated that. We also all know that there are members who are very enthusiastic, but may not be task-oriented. These members should be valued and encouraged, and most importantly, not felt like they are working alone. Pair your idea person with someone who is detail-oriented. For example, we had a very enthusiastic member who's amazing at organizing events. She shouldered most of the work, but she didn't have time to create a flyer for one of her fundraisers. She was not one to ask for help, but we noticed and we acted. We asked a new member who was an expert in advertising to help, and she was more than happy to oblige. And no feelings were hurt, and the extra help was appreciated. So all the things I mentioned are things you probably already know and do. I can only say that the difference I have made is the deliberate care we are giving towards each member. No one is left behind. At this time, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Jason Brown, past president of the Rotary Club of Downtown State College in State College, Pennsylvania.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome on in. We are going to be talking about membership care. But before we hop into that, I want to set the stage. We're going to be talking about membership care as if it were a relationship. That's right, as if it were a relationship. Now, we don't have a lot of time, but I am going to ask for everybody to be engaging with me. We're going to have a little bit of fun, and you're going to be using the chat feature. So that's right, no poll. You're going to be typing it in directly. So your first question, okay, again, we are going to be talking about membership care as if it were a relationship. Here's your first question. I want to see your comments in chat. I want to see your comments in chat. Here's the question. And it should be PG, okay, and 1 to 5 words. PG, 1 to 5 words. The question is, I'm sure a number of you have been in the honeymoon phase of a relationship. In 1 to 5 words, and in PG, make it safe for the kids, go ahead and put in chat, how did that make you feel? That honeymoon phase. I want to see it in chat. Membership. Woohoo! Okay, felt great, loved, wonderful, special, exuberant, warmed, and loved, euphoric. Wow, that is a powerful word. A lot of attention. These are all really wonderful words. So what we're going to be doing is talking about how membership is just like a relationship. So let's go ahead and first talk about how this is going to be like the honeymoon phase. What's the honeymoon phase? We just talked about how you're happy, excited, you feel cared for, you feel appreciated. All of these things are part of that, the honeymoon phase. And most importantly, you feel seen. You see, you feel as though somebody recognizes who you are, the pieces that make you, you. If you're a woman, if you're an African American, if you're from the Caribbean, if you're from the United States, whatever makes you, you feel like you're being seen. And all of these things are great in that honeymoon phase. And that's what brings you into the relationship. So let's flip it over to the club side of things, though. Let's think about it from the club side. Think about if the club were a relationship and you don't have that honeymoon phase. Seems kind of off. But if we tap into their passions right off the bat, if we tap into and we get them engaged as best as we can with the passions that they have, if we get them excited, we make sure that they feel cared for, we provide a hope for the future, they feel valued and appreciated, and they feel seen as an individual, they feel seen of who they are, then that honeymoon phase can be successful. But we need to make sure that honeymoon phase is there. And often we tend to skip over that and hop into the business side. Honeymoon phase is necessary, or members might leave. Next, the conflict and resolution part of a relationship. That's the next phase. That's in the relationship side of things. That's when you start to realize, there might be a few things about this person that I don't like as much. I never realized how bad their breath is in the morning. Whatever it is, you begin to see the things that you might not have noticed. And what really happens during this time is that you begin to see the flaws. And communication during this time is super critical, because that is the only way to really resolve and bridge that gap between the things you're beginning to notice, the conflicts that you have, to be able to get you to the resolution phase. Now, when you're thinking about clubs, my hunch is that this is the phase where we lose most of our members. We get them enticed somewhat. We do an okay job sometimes with the honeymoon phase. But when it comes to this, our communication begins to lack. When we have the opportunity for communication within the club, we need to ask. We need to do one-on-ones. We need to have surveys that go out to the members. Maybe it's targeted to the people that are in that particular group. Maybe they've been around for a little while and you're beginning to see them fall back a little bit. Those are the folks that you may need to really communicate with, because there's a problem. They're beginning to see the things that they may not enjoy, but they may not speak up. And it's up to us, all of us, to be able to reach out and communicate to those folks where they're at. Conflict and resolution. That's how this goes. And if you don't create a conflict and resolution phase, people are going to leave. What's the next phase? The settling down phase. Oh, things are getting serious. Oh, okay. All right. We've been in a relationship for a while romantically. Going through the motions of the relationship isn't enough for the long lasting relationship. In order for that to really be effective, you got to have some intentionality. You have to put some energy and some effort and intentionality behind the relationship in order to be effective. Intentionality means you just don't go through the motions. In the relationship, maybe think about communication, right? Communication could be superficial if you're not intentional with it. Romance and intimacy, right? Jason's talking about that too today. Yes, I am, because that's part of the theme. Guess what? That could lead up that's not going to fly or keep it lasting or keep it interesting. We have to be intentional if we're going to settle things down into something that's long lasting. We've already gotten past the honeymoon phase. We've gotten past the conflict and resolution phase, but in order to keep things going, we have to be highly intentional. Now think about this from a club perspective. You have to, a lot of times we get comfortable where we're at. We get very comfortable and we say, people, why don't you tell me that there's something wrong? Why don't you just participate in the way things need to be? But if we're intentional about what we have learned from all of the excitement for the first two steps, we need to reach out and lean in. We need to go to them and bring them along with us, all the members. And there might be folks specifically in this particular phase. If you know members are passionate about soccer and the World Cup is on, be intentional about knowing that piece of information, because you already just did the one-on-one. Create an experience for them. If you know somebody because you've asked a survey and they really want hybrid meetings, create something related to hybrid meetings. Begin to be intentional about your actions and not just go through the routine. Reach out, lean in, find a way to be intentional with your efforts. Because if you don't find a way of managing the settling down phase, people are going to leave. Now, everybody, real quick, question out in the chat. And I know I'm running low on time, but I'm going to ask this question. In 1 to 5 words, and keep it PG, describe what it feels like when you fall into the routine, but you don't have any intentionality behind it. What does it feel like when you're just going through the motions? 1 to 5 words. Go ahead and put it in chat. Boring, boredom, bored, blah, 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 dazed and confused, methodical, mundane, non-committal, useless, uninspiring, These are all of these people. Whenever you begin to get comfortable thinking that people in your club are doing all right, think about this. Are you just going through the routine, or are you being intentional with making sure you still giving a little bit of the honeymoon phase, and also you're listening and communicating for the conflict and resolution. All right, everybody, we're almost done. We're almost done. Next, last but not least, this is the phase. This is the phase where things really take off and last a long time. Now, I have to, in full disclosure, everybody, full disclosure. Right now, I'm not in a long-term relationship, but I have seen my grandparents, and they have grown so much. Even as a kid, I used to watch them and be amazed with just how much they love each other. And the more that I learned as I grew up, the more of things have changed along the way. And they grew along with each other and through it all. So in a relationship, the growth portion of this is that you must continuously adjust and improve. My grandparents did that. And they're absolutely fantastic and amazing and beautiful. As a result of that, I learned a lot from them. But when we think about that from a club perspective, if a couple of two must evolve, then surely a club of 5, 10, 20, 50, 100 must evolve, arguably faster than those two. Many times we get comfortable just sticking with what we have. And as if you think about it, we bring in new members, we must grow. As things change in our communities, we must grow. As people want hybrid, we must grow as we continue on in this relationship. And that's how you make things last. If you make things stagnant, people are going to leave. So in conclusion, everyone, make sure you do these 4 steps. And you may forget about each one of these little components, right? But the own pieces of your own relationship growth. Honeymoon phase, excited, conflict and resolution, communicate, settling down, make sure you're intentional, and grow with continuous improvement. Those are the ways that you can make sure that your membership health and your membership growth is continuing strong. I have one last question for everybody. One last question. 1 to 5 words. What does it feel like when you realize you've made a lifelong Rotary friend in your club? What does it feel like when you made a lifelong Rotary friend in your club? That relationship that is there. 1 to 5, like gold. Awesome, safe, fabulous, enriching, satisfying. Satisfying is a beautiful word here. Deep satisfaction. When you are going out into your clubs and trying to make sure your membership is solid and you provide membership care, think about your membership like a relationship and grow it from there. Thank you. I don't know if I'm supposed to hand this off, but I'm going to hand this off. I'm going to hand this off to the next person that's going to speak.
And that would be Mike Dara.
Mike, well, there it is, Mike. I'm so good with transitioning. You're welcome. Here's everybody. Here's Mike.
All right. That sounds great. I'm Mike Dara, the Rotary Coordinator for Zone 34 for membership. So just to recap, RI President Jennifer Jones wants us to listen and understand so that we understand those member needs and their expectations. Tracy Hajier took a hands-on approach to inform, involve, and encourage her members. And Jason Brown wants us to remember that members are individuals. One tactic does not fit all. As a matter of fact, it's like a relationship. It changes over time, and we have to meet each member where they are at the time. So we've got about 10 minutes for questions and answers. If you would, don't put your questions in the chat. Look for the Q&A button, click that, and you'll be able to enter questions there. I've got a couple already. One says, what can a new club president do if they're starting on July 1st? How can they assess where her members are in a relationship spectrum that Jason described? So Jason, could you give us an answer to that one?
Sure. So if I understand this correctly, you're an incoming president and you're like, what do I understand? How do I put these folks in a category? So let's go back a second. So think of like the brand new folks who were just like, you have the googly eyes that you have when you're a new member, and like in a relationship, you can tell the googly eyed people, right? Those folks are going to be in the honeymoon phase, fairly new individuals to the club. The conflict and resolution phase, these folks are going to be maybe the folks that are going to be a little disengaged, maybe from your investigation of you coming into presidency. You've done a little bit of research and you know a few folks have stopped coming to meetings or they're less engaged. That does not mean that they are actually not a great Rotarian, because a lot of folks sometimes go through moments in their life where that changes. However, I would probably start there. That's where I would say that the conflict and resolution piece is. Our club just recently had the same problem that most clubs do. We've recently brought in the same amount of people in the past 6 months that we lost in the past 6 months, right? And so the folks, one of my first questions was, and I'm not on the membership committee, was who were these folks and how were they engaging right before they left? And folks in our club were like, we'll have to look into this a little bit further, because that is a sure tell sign that somebody might be in conflict, but maybe not able to address it in a way that might be helpful for the club. Settling down. The folks that are just beginning to realize, like, yeah, this might be a long-term thing, right? Maybe these are the folks that are like really curious about leadership roles. Maybe these are folks who are really they're involved. Maybe these folks are committed. Maybe these folks are the folks that are contributing to the foundation. Those are the individuals that I'm like, oh, okay, these people are ready to go for a while. And this last piece is kind of like everyone together, right? This growth continuous improvement piece is really the piece that brings the glue around all the other three. It's to say, how do you make sure that all of this goes over time, is to make sure that you are continuously improving along the way. Because as these change and as new people come in here with these three, then you're going to need this in order for those things to happen. Hopefully that cleared it up.
Thanks, Jason. Tracy, I've got one for you. How many of your existing members actually reach out to the new members and do what you said, ask them more than just surface questions? My club has great friendships, but what I've noticed is some of the time, many of our folks don't reach out to the new folks. How many of your members actually reach out to those folks reliably? And do you reach out and make certain that you have 5, 10 that'll do that?
Well, our club, when I became president, had 50 members, and now we're up to 64. I initially started a bingo game that required all the new members to engage with more seasoned members, and that kind of got the ball rolling. I would say between 5 and 10, and I personally will go to a member that I know has not been to meetings. I will call them. I've been known to go to their place of business and engage with them to find out why they're not coming anymore. I was jokingly called a stalker by one, but that was a joke. And he ended up coming back and re-engaged. And one of our members that was closer in age to him ended up being on his board of directors of his institution. So it was a successful maneuver, but I would say depends, 5 to 10 people I ask to make sure they go around. I'm very observant. I look around, I see who's talking, who's not, and I try to find someone age appropriate, maybe the same business they're in, that type of thing. And
Okay.
Sure, I'll send the bingo.
Okay, that sounds good. So I've got another question for either one of you. If a member submits one of those way out there requests, how can you show him that he's heard, even if you can't accommodate the request?
Tracy, you want to take this one first?
Well, I work in an educational environment as well as Jason, and I answer the phone a lot with some disgruntled customers. And I have found that the most successful thing is to listen and to acknowledge what the person is saying and how they're feeling. And then I try to say, let me get back with you on that. And then the second conversation is usually more about, why this won't work. We did hear you. We did research on it. Let me give you an alternative that might meet your needs. I don't know if that's helpful.
So I mostly agree. However, I will say that if in a conversation when someone's first suggesting something to you, if your first reaction is, oh, that's not going to work, then you're not listening and being receptive to the idea in the first place. I'm going to challenge the concept that if someone provides, it's suggesting something that seems uncomfortable, that's probably an interesting idea that you should investigate. Especially if you're the gatekeeper between this person and the rest of the board or the club to see what else is possible. So I'm going to give a counterpoint to say, are you sure that it's really not possible? And if it is after investigation, it's not possible, then I would say, oh, then you just have then you have an honest conversation with him and be like, listen, I brought it to the board. We had a conversation and it seems like that's just not the right time for us. But how about this? Bring this back. Think about, here's some things, here's some pieces of feedback. Bring this back to us and see what we can do. But there are so many ways of empowering people with really cool ideas, even if the first one is not. Last piece, and then we can move on, is that one of the things that I love to do is ideate. I have lots of great ideas. I don't care if somebody tells me no. I'll be like, all right, I'll come back to you tomorrow with another question. But I've been in rooms in which somebody is super excited about that one idea. It's a terrible idea, right? It's a terrible idea. It is. And then they bring it to you, and then you're like, no, that's not going to work. That person will never again come to me to suggest the same thing. We have to figure out a way to empower the people that are providing us their passion, their excitement, their ideas, even if, and we have to investigate them, even if we may think that it might not work.
Okay, Jason, online with that, can our RI or our club membership application be built to include the questions we want to ask at intake? One of those questions that really gets to the heart of things. A great application question can do a lot of heavy lifting to get us to understand our member. Can you give us one of those questions that you would put in your application?
Instead of asking people what they do for a living, ask people what they love to do. What do you love to do? Don't try to put it in context to Rotary. Don't try to put it in context to anything that you have. Let the question be open. Let them fill the space. Then you ask questions about that. Whether that's in a form, that's redundant, but you get my point, or that's a one-on-one over coffee or a beer. I would suggest that question.
Okay, Tracy, we've got just enough time for you to toss in. Is there one question that you just think is fantastic to put on that application so you understand that new member?
I agree with Jason. I'm all about what makes, what is your passion? What is it that you feel that you want to contribute to any club or your life in general? What is it that makes you tick? And then we can then take that information and segue that into working with other members in the Rotary Club.
Okay, thank you both. Tracy and Jason, this has been great. I also appreciate all the folks that have come on tonight, that you're concerned for the care and comfort of our members. That is key to the value we deliver to those members. So thank you for coming on to figure out better ways to make your club really make a difference. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Jeremy. And Jeremy, take it away.
Thank you so much, Mike, and for moderating the questions and answers, and to our great panelists and presenters, Tracy and Jason. I think we're definitely in our honeymoon phase, but moving towards a longer-term relationship which will grow and prosper, I'm sure. So we look forward to seeing you both back with us in future once again. We thank all of you, the attendees, the guests, for being with us this evening, our customers, by the way, as we mentioned. As I mentioned last month, we have created the Zone awards to recognize and reward those clubs and districts who are engaging and participating in our membership action plan. And this slide provides you with the latest update of the participation rate of your clubs and districts based upon their attendance at our MAP webinars. And we encourage you to promote our MAP webinars to your club leaders on a consistent basis. And if you send tonight, they could be highly engaging and provide some innovative perspectives on how you handle your membership challenges, as you saw from both Jason and Tracy. There's no better way to ensure membership growth remains front and center in your club culture than through the membership action plan we put together for you. Please remember that attendance on these webinars is just one of the components of these awards, and to actually achieve the award, the district must show growth in the current Rotary year. So let's finish this year, as I said last month, Rotary strong, and make sure your club gets and the district gets the award it deserves. Also remember, if you missed out on any of the previous webinars, recordings of these can be found on the Zones 33 and 34 websites. So watch them all and go for gold. Now we have a few upcoming webinar treats for you. Zone 34 Public Image Team will present its 2023 Public Image Bootcamp on April 24th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And this is the very best way for you to get up to speed quickly on public image, especially as your club and district public image teams prepare for the 23-24 Rotary year. And you can register for that at www.elevaterotary.org. In addition, the Zones 33 District Training Team district training itself will be held April 13th, 15th at Virginia Crossings, just north of Richmond. The membership seminar will be held from midday April 13th to midday April 14th. And then from then until midday April 15th, it's designed for all district leaders and will cover the Rotary Foundation, public image, and also membership. And you can find more about that and register for this event using the link in the chat here. Also, our very next membership action plan is on Monday, May 8th at 6 p.m. Eastern. So join us that evening and we'll discuss the Membership Success Center again, and you'll learn how to connect via DACDV enter your 2023-24 membership goals and create surveys. And again, you can sign up using the link in the chat. Lastly, remember to kickstart your membership growth. Set your goals in the Membership Action Plan Membership Success Center. And if you don't know how, let us know. And also attend next month's webinar and you'll find out there. Attend these webinars. They are key to success as we move forward, and implement the attraction and engagement strategies set out in the Membership Success Center to become irresistible. Hope is not a strategy for membership growth. It needs to be intentional, as you heard tonight. So let's make bigger impacts in our communities, create irresistible, caring experiences for our members in inclusives clubs where members' well-being is front and center. Set your goals in the Membership Success Center to take the very first step. Thank you so much for being with us this evening, and we look forward to seeing you again next month on May 8th. Have a wonderful month. Take care. Grow Rotary. Thank you.